Hey everyone, good morning. How are you? And welcome to Morning Tea with me, Tracy V. Allen. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. This morning I have with me CaPri. I see she just put CaPri, so I'm just gonna say CaPri, no last names needed.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. So CaPri and I met online about what, 4 years ago?
I'll give it that. Sometimes
Yeah,
I feel like it's longer, but
I know.
I'll say four.
Yeah. So we met online, just kind of commenting in someone's group and kind of connected and got on the phone, chatted a little bit. I was talking about nonprofits. She was thinking about doing some nonprofit, starting a nonprofit organization. And we just kind of hit it off and kept in contact throughout the years. And I have seen her platform blossom. Um, I've seen her go through many changes, and we're going to talk about some of those changes today. And she's just a source of inspiration. So, CaPri, go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, audience. Hi, good morning, morning tea. I have some morning ginger tea myself,
All
so
right.
I'm going to have to get on theme with you. My name is CaPri, and I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm prior military. I was in the Air Force 8 years, 4 years active duty, 2 years in the Guard, 2 years in the reserves. Then I moved here to Virginia about 13 years ago, and I lost my job that I moved here for. I lost a car and my girl, and it was all related to finding my passion today. Things need to be stripped away from me to find what I call my true glue self. And what glue stands for is God loves unconditionally everyone. It is our duty to give love unto everyone. And before I could spread that message, I had to learn how to take myself out of society and give love unto myself. And because I was, what word I want to use, because I was disassociated with my family, or my family was disassociated with me, and society disassociate themselves with me because of my LGBTQIAP isms. I had to learn that God loves me unconditionally as well.
All right. I love that. Um, and so let's talk a little bit more about your time in the military. So you said you were in the military for, I guess, a total of like 8 years
Yes, ma'am.
altogether, right? So
Yes.
what did you do in the military? Because I'm always interested in what people do in the military post coming back to the civilian life.
Two very different worlds. In
Right.
the Air In the Air Force, I used to do what's called non-destructive inspection, which is testing for foreign agents inside of aircrafts without jets, without having to tear them apart,
Mhm.
which means we're looking for water inside the wings. We're looking for FOD, which is foreign object defects, which is screws or what have you that might be in some of the ailerons that makes the plane go up and down. So it's basically looking for foreign defects that don't belong inside of a plane to avoid high finances of taking the plane apart. But if you have to take it apart, we can tell you exactly where it's at through various techniques like x-rays, penetrant, which means it glows in the dark. And then my second job in the military, once I got out of active duty, was applying electrical power. It was electrical production. So like last night when the power went out here overnight, my mind clicks into, I wonder what's going on in the generator out there. I wonder if this is right, that's right. So it's a whole lot of that still exists.
Okay. So after being, because I've spoken to enough military people. My son is in the military too. After being in the military for a long time, I know a lot of people have issues readjusting to civilian life because they said it's almost like you're in another country or another community altogether. It's almost like you're isolated from everyone else. So when you come back out and you see some of the things that happen in the regular everyday world, you're like, people do that? Did you have that type of experience, and did it affect how you were able to acclimate back into life? Because I know you talked about, moving and then losing everything. Do you think that had something to do with it?
I'm going to say yes on so many different levels and no on so many different levels. I didn't recognize when I went into the military just how much of an individual I was, and
Mhm,
conforming to that way of life
mhm.
was a bigger adjustment for myself. So when
Okay.
I got back out, I was able to be CaPri. I could breathe. I didn't have to worry about don't ask, don't tell. And then I didn't recognize that I had a voice, and I spoke up for myself as much as I did because I was raised in a household that was unfortunately physically, emotionally abusive, and I wasn't heard. So when I became an adult, I couldn't be heard in the military either. So that struggle back and forth of who am I, what's my identity for myself. And I didn't want to wear a uniform and look like everyone else. I didn't want to have my hair a certain way. And I was figuring out, am I gay? Am I not gay? And I couldn't do it in a place where you couldn't express yourself. So going into the military may have been an escape for me. I was living in survival mode. I just wanted a paycheck, 3 meals and a cot. So going in was a beautiful thing on one end, but on the other end, it had me in anger management within my first 6 months, or let me say my first year in the military. I had to go to anger management because I was having a hard time adjusting to the military way of life. But yes, once I completed my time and now that I work in the work, it's like, where's the structure? What are you all doing? Something's off. So I see the best and worst of both sides.
Okay. So you mentioned something that I really do want to get into. It sounds simplistic to a lot of people, but I know your backstory on it, but I want you to tell the backstory on it. You talked about not even being able to do your hair the way you wanted to do it. So what's the story with the hair?
All right. I have a glue hawk typically, but because of Corona right now, it's kind of a fro hawk. And the color is red because we all bleed the same blood. And I also teach HIV/AIDS awareness. The color itself is just me being me in my early 20s when I got out the military. I just wanted to be free and not look like everybody else and just breathe a little bit. And the mohawk started, I think I was probably about 23. And I've had one ever since, and it used to be permed in different colors. It used to just be an expression of freedom for myself. I wasn't trying to stand out. I wasn't trying to get attention. I was just being me. And eventually, when I started speaking and it started catching on, people started wanting to touch it and do things. The glue hawk has its own glue energy per se. And now I said, well, let me turn it red because my company is red. We all bleed the same blood again, HIV. And when they see me now, they know they can, my even meers or what I call them, they know they can get a hug. If they need condoms, they can get that. If they want to talk about their HIV status or not, we can do that. So it's just a form of love in a different expression, but the color is still red to say that's glue baby.
Yeah, I love that story. So I said, I know I had to ask that question because I mean, it's such a vibrant color of red. And I know other people probably want to know, like, well, why that particular color, right? And it's usually redder than that, guys, you know,
Yeah.
all the time. So, but yeah.
I've never had that question straight up in an interview, and I appreciate you for, people curious, but they don't ask directly. So thank you.
Well, I ask the hard questions because I want answers. Everybody wants to know things. I mean, if you're open, we'll ask the questions and have answers.
I'm here.
Yeah. So, so we went from the military. You talked about the struggle of reacclimating into civilian life. How did you get involved, or what propelled you into the entrepreneurship, the community activism, the motivational speaking realm?
As again, growing up as a kid in a home of not being accepted, not being able to express yourself, not being heard, helped me to be who I am today. And all of those negatives, I was the only child at home in the room where there was no communication or emotions between my mom and myself, and we lived behind closed doors a lot. And growing up with what I call ADHD, all day having dreams, I had to figure out how to entertain myself in this room. So listening to music saved my life on so many different levels, and writing music and acting in this room and just taking the thoughts that are inside my head and putting them out in the world. I didn't know what it was then, but entertaining myself. Eventually years go by and glue comes to mind at 2001 when 9/11 happened. And I'm like, God, what is it that we can teach people, that you're the glue, that you're the one that's going to keep us together? And of course, I have to tell you, Left Eye passed away about that same time, and being a music head from Atlanta, it was a strong impact. And I wanted to use my creativity and my love for people to glue up the world at such hard times, and entertaining taking my natural talents that I developed as a kid, grew over into the Glue and Capri musical motivational movement. So I've always been a mentor in high school. When I was in the military, I mentored throughout my time there. I didn't know I was healing myself and wanted to be loved in the way that I wasn't loved and accepted in the way that I wasn't. And that's just been my lifelong um, journey, I would say, since of self-discovery to just give love unto everyone the way I felt like I didn't get it. And it was born out of the Glue and Capri musical motivational movement was born out of that and self-isolation for 9 years in a hotel room. Also from 32 to 41, I practiced what I call sexual transmutation. I was single and celibate for 7, 8 years. And I took all of that, again, societal energy, being raped, being molested, being taken advantage of. I took all of that and put it over into living the self-help project, healing myself and working on myself to what is all this talent about? What is this creativity about? What is this talking a lot about? If I can't shut up, I keep going when you ask me one question. What is that? And that's how I got to where I'm at today.
Okay. You said a whole mouthful in that little short space of time.
Yeah.
So let's touch on some of the things that you talked about. So you talked about not having a really good relationship with your mom. How is that relationship today? Because I think when you go through the self-healing process, sometimes you can see, how should I put it? The flaws or the pain that she had that was transferred over to you. And maybe you don't have a really good relationship right now, but you forgive her for the things that she did as a child herself or young, because sometimes we become parents and we're not ready to become parents and we're learning along the way and we make a lot of mistakes. So what is that relationship like and how did you go through that healing process? Because I know, if I know you, I know there was some type of healing going on. So.
I'm from Forever I Love Atlanta. Let me put that right here. I'm from Forever I Love Atlanta. My mom lives there. I've been in Virginia for the last 13 years. I left home for the first time at the age of 15, then once at 18 to go to college, and 19 military. So I've just been gone. And to me, that's what, if we're in the same space and place, some of the hangups are still there. Some of the energies are still there. And I choose not to live that life. So I feel as if we have a surface acceptance of one another where we are in life. But I'll be the first to tell you, my mom's mom passed away when she was about 16. And that for me meant that I saw early on that she was hurt. I saw that something wasn't right. And I was unfortunate, like a young, not unfortunate in a bad way. I was a kid that saw a parent hurting and would ask my mom, are you okay? Mom, you want to talk? What's wrong? And my mom wasn't in a place to receive that type of energy. So I had to learn that she has to survive herself in her own way. And then being a single mom at 22, having 6 siblings to look after, I recognized early on it was a lot. So I was totally forgiving of my mom to where I accepted and went through more than what I had to and needed to. But because I knew that's my mom, man, I don't care what it is, that's still mom. I didn't want to be away from her. Even now during Corona, I would roll up and just go look out the window to go see my mom. But if Corona wasn't here and I tried to hug her, she's like, she's emotionally constipated is what I call it. And I have emotional diarrhea. So we have to find our emotional balance to be able to deal with each other.
Yeah, good. And then you talked about being a child that had ADHD and being an adult because it doesn't go away. It's not a condition that goes away. And I can speak to that. So I was happy that you brought that up because my son has ADHD. And it was hard. It's hard to be a parent of a child that has ADHD because you can't understand, why can't you just sit your butt down over there somewhere?
That's not happening.
Still and stop, So I remember, and I was a young mom too. I had my son when I was 21, and it was hard for me to deal with, but I had a collective. I had my mom that was there, my dad, my brothers. So I had a collective to help me. So when I got frustrated and I was just like, I just can't. I can't, you know, because I'm very disciplined. And to have a child that he wasn't rude, he wasn't disrespectful, he was just bouncing off the walls. He was literally climbing walls, you know, and I was just like, this can't work. So one of the things I had to do, because I was like, we can't continue this way, right? With me getting frustrated, and when you get frustrated as a parent, then you lash out, right? And I was like, I can't continue this way. So one of the things that I did was that I got educated. And I'm a firm believer in education can save your life. It can change your life, okay? So I sat down and I really started doing some deep dive studies on what ADHD is and what research was out there and how you could deal with it. And to this day, I think she passed away. His pediatrician, the school wanted me to put him on, my cousin is saying good morning. Yeah, she said, yes, he was. Yeah, Tamika, he definitely was. He was jumping off the walls. Like, my son was an active young man. Okay. When I tell you active, okay. So his pediatrician wanted to, not his pediatrician, the school was like, oh, maybe you need to put him on some medication. And I was like, yes. Okay, medication is going to calm him down. Woo, yes. You know, so I went to the pediatrician and I said to the pediatrician, hey, you know, the school is suggesting that I put him on Ritalin. You know, Ritalin was the drug of choice back then. And the doctor was like, no. And I'm like, say what now? You know, what do you mean no? I'm the parent. I'm telling you, I want him to go on Ritalin. She said, I will not. Maybe there is somebody else that will put him on Ritalin, but it won't be me. She said, do you want a child or do you want a zombie? Because that's what the child is going to become. And I said, what now? I said, I love the activity, but sometimes I need it to calm down. But it wasn't him that was the problem. I was the problem. Okay. I had to learn how to adjust and accept my child for who he was and do what I call reconditioning exercises. So his teachers, and I think my frustration had really come from him himself. My frustration came from the educational system, with the teachers constantly complaining. When people constantly complain to you all the time, it gets to your head and you're just like, I just don't want to hear one more complaint. Can I get a day without a complaint? So I was taking that frustration out on him, you know, and I was just like, I just need you to sit down and stop moving. Please stop moving. And like I said, I went ahead and I did a lot of research. I learned a lot of things about ADHD and how to handle it. And that changed the whole entire dynamic of our relationship. And I became an advocate for my child. I'm like, listen, is he rude? No. Is he disrespectful? No. Is he doing his work? Yes. Is he getting good grades? Yes. Then shut up. I don't want to hear it. Deal with it. You know, because I was just like, if he is not, they were like, oh, he's the sweetest young man, but he just cannot stay seated for any extended period of time. I said, then you need to adjust how you educate him, you know? And then we would have these reconditioning exercises where I would tell him, you know, you're in control of your brain. And even now, sometimes he's 25 and I still have to be like, sometimes he's having a conversation with me and I'll just like, and he's like, oh, okay. He can self-check now and he notices that he's jumping from 4 different conversations because his brain moves so fast. That's the problem. That's the only thing with people with ADHD. You are so creative. You're so intelligent that your brain is processing information at such a rapid speed that you don't even realize what you're doing. You're just like going. And that's how he is right now. I'm like, dude, you need sleep. You know, there's something called sleep. You gotta sleep sometimes. And he can pick up anything and he can master it immediately. You know, so sometimes I think, and there's any parents out here listening, I'm sorry, I don't want to take over the interview, but I had to talk about this. If there are any parents out here with a child with ADHD, feel free to inbox me because I can give you some pointers. because you have to become, you have to heal yourself. You have to accept your child and learn your child, learn who they are, what, because there were things that I could do to calm him down and to teach him how to self-regulate. It's about learning who you are as a person, what your triggers are, and how to self-regulate. Now, we would have this exercise every morning. I would drop him off to school, like I started saying, you control your brain doesn't control you. And it's something that I had to tell him over and over until he was able to figure out, okay, when he's about to, like, I just can't sit here anymore. Like, I need to move. So yes. And I think that people with ADHD are extremely creative. They're extremely empathetic. They're just awesome people to me. You just have to learn how to deal with them. You have to be able, and just smile through the flipping of conversations back and forth, just deal with it, because there's a lot of good things coming out. It's just not coming out in the package that you want it to come out in. So, yeah.
And to that, I have a package myself. Like I say, ADHD, all day having dreams. I like to teach people how to compartmentalize their thoughts. It's called working your crazy instead of letting your crazy work you, because we all have a level of crazy. We just got to figure out what it is, how is it beneficial, or if it's not beneficial, what can we do to make it beneficial? Because even your negatives, as you're saying, can become your positives. You just got to learn what they are and how to work them. And once again, being that kid back in that room, growing up, when I decided to come out the world at 32, I went into another hotel room, which is about the same. Another room was happened to be a hotel room, and it was room 240, where 24 hours a day we worked to make me whole. So in this room, I allowed myself to be the kid that I could not be at the age of childhood. And I worked at Olive Garden. So when the kids would color me pictures, because they like the service at Olive Garden, this is for you when we leave. And I'm like, okay, where am I going to start doing all these pictures? I started putting them on the wall in the hotel room, because I couldn't color, I couldn't be a kid. I couldn't write on the walls. Kids sometimes need to express themselves, especially when you have so much gloonergy inside of you. And when I started doing that, I took the furniture out of the room. I took the bed out. I took the TV out the hotel room. I brought a futon, and I just dealt with my mind to figure out what is it that's in here, and I compartmentalize myself. I'm my first client. So I know my A, I know my Z, because I knew my dreams were big. I knew what I saw at the end. I just had to figure out my B through my Y, and what does that look like? And by every letter of the alphabet, I got to know myself as myself without pressures from the world. And for me, that's the best thing that anyone as an adult with ADHD could do, is just sit with yourself and get away from all of the noise and figure out, what's my crazy? What is my brain telling me? What is my heart telling me? Why do I talk so fast? Why do I have these thoughts? Why do I have this energy, and what can I do with it? And in the beginning, it was good as a kid, but then when it wasn't controlled as a young adult, I'm very sexualized in the world. So I spent time in that same ADHD energy all over the place, but I was all over the place with people. And once I figured that out, let me come out, because if I can't continue like this, I'm gonna end up with AIDS. I'm gonna end up dead because I'm messing with somebody else and somebody, and I don't care. That mindset was there. So I had to bring that out. And it's like all day having dreams, and I got to work my crazy. Let me put these together. And there's Living the Self-Help Project that I created to work with. I worked in the mental health world to learn myself and to learn my family, because I knew I saw something. I just didn't know what it was. And the secrets of my family wouldn't discuss, or didn't know how to discuss, because they were, once again, young children who lost their mom at a young age. So they had to grow fast as well. But I recognized something, and I went to school for psychology, but I never passed. I couldn't stay in school because my brain was always elsewhere, but I was always in the big parties with the deans of the school, because I could talk to people, I could relate to people, but because I didn't have that label, I was limited to where I could go. So let me figure out how to take all of this oomph and package it up and make it presentable at a level of a label to let people see my worth, and that's teaching them glue and showing them glue and taking my crazy and letting them see how to work it. And then these people end up becoming my clients.
Okay.
I now have what they need.
Oh, nice. So how do you work with most of your clients? Is it in group settings? Is it through organizations or one-on-one coaching?
It was in group settings before, of course, Corona hit or what have you, and going to different, I work with teens and young adults, and I will go to the facilities and teach groups at the facilities, and I have my own packages that I would take with me. Now I'm learning, because of Corona, how to work one-on-one consulting with people branding their business and using social media to level up their brand, not as much as doing the mental health part of it, but I include the mental health in my interviews on my end to keep that part of me alive. But I've just now, I teach people how to use social media, basically.
Okay. All right.
It's two different worlds that I combine together.
Yeah. And teaching people, and it's a good combination, because in teaching people how to use social media, one of the first things, because I've interviewed enough people, I mentor enough people, I have enough clients, business friends or business besties that I know, people are afraid of social media. And that comes from the mind, right? They're afraid to put themselves out there. I used to be one of those people, afraid to put themselves out there because you feel vulnerable, right? People are seeing who you are, that thousands of people you don't know, and we're all afraid of being judged. You know, are you too fat? Are you too dark? Are you too light? Are your glasses? Like, most of the time on here, I don't wear my glasses, but I do wear glasses. I wear my glasses on my other interview when I do after this. But I don't wear my glasses here because I don't like the shine of the light in my glasses, and there's nothing I really need to read. But different things like that. Do I have an accent? Do I speak too loud? So we have a lot of hangups and insecurities. So I think in doing this new venture, I can see how, your old or your other venture fits in seamlessly, because you have to recondition the mind for people to really get out here and live their true blue lives.
You better go ahead with your true glue self. That's glue, baby. I love it. And you're absolutely right. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah. So yeah, I really see how that, and I know you've been on social media for a very long time, because when I met you, I think you were doing like interviews in your community and trying to promote different people. So I know part of your brand is as a social media influencer. How is that part of your brand going right now, and how are you going to be continuing to build that portion?
Apparently it's going great. Groovy, I'm here with you. So that's beautiful in itself. And I appreciate you for having me here today. That lets me know, once again, you never know who's watching. You never know what doors are opening.
Mhm.
And I'm appreciative of those, and knowing that ADHD vision, knowing that God, I don't know if it's Jesus, Allah, Buddha, Jehovah, whatever it is that's making me over, has an energy in me. I know it's going to do something big. So when I come across people like you make my dreams go even bigger. And I know that something is about to pop off. So for me, social media, I've been on social media, if you all remember, since the days of MySpace, Black Planet, and even before then, I had computers, and I would just sit there and make profiles of myself and express myself there, but I really wasn't connecting with people, because once again, the introverts that we are, it was just a diary for me. It was just me having fun doing my thing, but because of um, being different attracts attention or what have you. So the attention was coming, but I would do things to block it, because I wasn't one that wanted to be a celebrity of signing autographs and getting caught up in that whirlwind of what they call now going viral. I saw it ahead of time. I wanted to keep my business and my brand grassroots. But no matter what I do, because of personality, and unfortunately, it's a large number of people that have been neglected and not loved on. And when they need that love from someone that's just as odd as they are and different as they are, they connect or glue neck to that. So now social media for me, I'll just say we're international on so many different levels and so many different ways that people from around the world are reaching out now. And that's the beauty of social media. You don't have to stay right on your block or what have you, how you grew up. Or, it's a wide range of possibility on the internet. You just have to be open to try it. And most people today over the age of 30, 35 are intimidated with having to learn social media and talking on social media and expressing themselves. So when it comes to social media, I really work with us mature folks to let us know that we can take something old and turn it into something new today with social media, because the old way is really you look at Corona, it's taken away so many different normalcies. If you don't have the internet, if you don't use social media to push yourself, unfortunately, you're going to be struggling beyond what you're accustomed to or have to.
Right. And it is an adjustment, talking to a screen. I'm accustomed to talking to live people and getting feedback and working off the audience's energy, especially after teaching for 15 years and then coming to social media. I'm like, I look at my old videos when I started and I'm like, oh my God, this is bad.
It's comedy.
I'm like, this is bad, but what time you realize that, you don't need an audience to be yourself. You can just be yourself. Laugh if you want to laugh. Be quirky if you want to be quirky. Say the things that you would normally say to a regular audience. Just psych yourself up. You got a group of people right behind you looking at you in your mind, and you're just doing your thing. So it's an adjustment, mentally, physically, emotionally. It's an adjustment. Let's talk about your book. Tell us about the book that you wrote.
The book is called, I'm a co-author of a book called Surviving the Transition. And in truth, I'm not really able to talk about it because it's stuck up in legalities beyond myself. But it is a book about surviving the life of a military woman's life from active duty to civilian life. And it does let us tell our stories about that transition. I'm just not able to promote where you can find it at right now and purchase it.
Right. But that's okay. So we can just transition into my next question.
I appreciate the question. No, that's okay. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Tell us about your work in the LGBT community, because we kind of scaped over it, but tell us about that.
As you can tell in all of my fabulous, no, I'm just stop. In all of my
yes.
But see, people, I stopped that simply because of the stereotype that people have on the LGBT community already. When they see us, they expect us to act a certain way, look a certain way. And I was called gay before I even knew what a gay was, just because of how I looked at my tomboyish status and playing with the boys and not with the girls. And because I had muscles, I didn't even know what it was. I later on found out. So for me, being rejected early on by people, family, even in church, not knowing that I was going to be gay. Growing up in church, all you hear is, if you're gay, you're going to hell. If you're gay, you're sinning, and you get all of the negative energy in that. And then once you recognize that, hey, wait a minute, I'm gay. They ain't talking about me. All of that. Now I have to mentally, I'm not worthy. I'm not accepted. I'm not, whoa, what is this? This isn't fair to all of this energy. Before I even know what my energy was here for, I just felt suppressed by the world. And that was something else I had to unravel. Once I was in the military, that's when I started recognizing my sexuality, even though let me say this, and I guess I'm supposed to share this. I was taken advantage of by a male and a female at the age of 15 who happened to both be 25. And that part for me, people would think your thoughts are convoluted because of sexual abuse or sexual trauma because of LGBT. They want to equate the two. If you've been abused, that makes it easy for you to be LGBT or what have you. And for me, that's not the case, because I always remember being attracted to girls, liking girls, curious about girl stuff and not liking boys like that. So that happened beforehand. But being that I had the shared experience of two different sexes, I knew what I liked and what I didn't like. I knew I didn't have to, I hate that I found out the way that I did, but that helped me to recognize I don't like this, I don't like that. So that's how I came into my LGBTQIP life. I don't like labels for myself. I'm just CaPri. But because the world that we live in, they want to put you in labels. I still don't know. I know what they all mean, but I don't allow myself to identify because I like to just be in the energy of the person. If I connect with you, we're connected. If I'm not, I'm not. But sexually, I'm attracted to women. But emotionally, I can get there with anyone. And to me, that's not an emotional or feeling that you can put in the box. It just is. And as soon as people take those labels away and love us for who we are, as we are, the world will be a lot more bluer. So even in the gay community, I teach us how to live outside of the labels. I understand needing the to fit in somewhere and to have a lane to be in. I get it, and the identity of being rejected is hard to find who you are. So I get the labels, but my main work is teaching us within ourselves not to only be defined as that label. You're so much more than that. And even in that rejection, how can we give love unto ourselves? How can we get to the God in you underneath everything that you've been through? So I like to basically say I mentor the LGBTQ community and just being their true blue selves despite the labels
Okay.
that society has put on them.
Are you working with the teen population or the adult population?
At this moment in time, in my truth, I work with whoever comes to me because I can't reject anyone in that element because I remember rejection at every level. So if you come to me, I'm here. But being that I didn't want to be identified when people first see me is gay girl, dyke, lesbian. They want to go with all the negatives. She wants to be a man. She wants to do this. So I stopped associating with that lifestyle and said, please, this is just CaPri. I'm just here to love on you and teach you that God loves unconditionally everyone. So I even stepped away from the LGBT community doing so much there because the overall brand started people would just wanted to associate me with that. And I'm like, no, I'm here to convince the Christians that don't like the LGBT community that they're worthy to be here. I'm just not over here to convince us that we're not a label. My main purpose in life is to change religiosity and what they make us feel like. I didn't know I was going to be a spokesperson for the LGBTQ community over here, and that's what it turned and morphed into. No matter how much I try not to just be that thing, that label, it's not a bad thing. It's just how society treats you, and you have to work so hard for them to see you.
Yeah.
So that's. But now I am going over to that. Say that again.
Right back to what your whole thing is. Glue. God loves you unconditionally. Yeah.
And it's not hard. It's very easy. Give love unto everyone the way you would want someone to give love unto you. Love thy neighbors. You love thyself. It's all the same. It's simple. And one of my favorite quotes by Iyanla Vanzant is, life is easy. We make it hard with all of our droppings. And labels are droppings. It's unnecessary. They're unnecessary.
Okay. All right. This was a riveting conversation.
That's glue, baby. That's
kind of left me speechless, but I do agree with everything that you say. We are a label society, and we need to take away the labels sometimes. Not that we need to not see color, we not need to not see sexuality, we need not see gender. We just need to not be so focused on it. And, it's not just who that person is. So I'm a woman, but it doesn't mean that that's all I am. So just don't see me as a woman. I'm Black, but that's not all I am. Just don't see me as Black. You might be gay, but that's not who you are alone. That's just a portion of your life, but you're a holistic person. And I would love for if people could start seeing us as just holistic people and not just as, like you said, labels, whatever the label is. Stop seeing people as just a label. So
because you don't want to be seen as a label, so why do it to somebody else?
I am seen as a label a lot. I wish I could have taken some pictures of the conferences I was in for the last couple of days. So I've given myself the label of a unicorn because I stand out like a unicorn in all of my meetings. Let's just say that, right?
It
Um,
takes a unicorn to know a unicorn.
I just stand out like a unicorn. When I say I'm a unicorn, they're like, "You're what?" I'm like, "Yeah." If you don't get it, then you just don't get it. So anyway, right. So if you had to leave our audience with three things that you want to stay on their minds for them to think about to live their best glue lives, what would those three things be? See, I'm good. I can just push that in there anywhere.
And I'm going to just say simple. God loves unconditionally everyone. It's our duty to give love unto everyone and live your true glue self, your true glue life, no matter what, on purpose, with purpose, because you have a glue purpose. And don't you let nobody tell you different. And that's
Awesome.
glue and Capri, baby.
Yes. So if you want to get in contact with Capri, you can go to that'sgluebaby.com. She has all of her speeches that she gives. You can hire her to come in and do speeches. Well, now we're doing virtual, but still people need to be paid even though it's virtual. You can book an appointment. She's doing a 45, 46? 46.
46.
Yeah,
Well,
46.
we actually, a 46 marathon glue interview, and my people are actually asking me to go beyond the 46 because the numbers are increasing, but I'm gonna stop there because it's birthday and that's my
Right.
gift to myself, and
Yeah.
we're gonna revamp thereafter.
Okay. So if you wanted to get one of those interviews, you can go over to That's Glue Baby, that's gluebaby.com, and you'll
We
see
got
the
10
time.
spots left.
How many?
We have 10 spots left, so if you all
Spots.
say
So rush
morning
on
tea,
over there if you want to get your glue interview, and sign up. It's a good 20 minutes of chat, and I'll be on again next week, Friday. I was on last week, Friday. I'll be on again next week, Friday, because we had so much more that she wanted to talk about. But yeah, so go on over and do that. And I want to thank everyone who tuned in this morning. I really appreciate you getting up this early with me for morning tea. And Capri, thank you for being such a great guest this morning. And you have to come back some other time and we can have some more riveting conversation. All right, everyone, have a wonderful day and please stay safe.
that's glue, baby.